Okay, everyone, we're now live. You may proceed with the meeting. Thank you.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the October 1st Mountain Community Capital Fund Operating Committee meeting. My name is Tim Love. I'm the Vice Chair of the Mountain Community Capital Fund, also known as the MCCF. I appreciate everyone joining us this morning, those that are members of the committee, whether as voting members or not, but also to the members of the public that may be watching us via the internet. Our agenda today is relatively light. But what I'd like to do is start with a roll call. And so I'm just going to go through the list on our agenda. If you'll say that you are present when I call your name, that'd be great. I will start with Rachel Nygaard.
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Tony McDowell. Maui Vang.
Present.
Carl Aguirre.
Here.
Nikki Reed. Karen Omansky.
Karen's not here.
Yasleen Gonzalez.
Present.
Dee Williams.
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Reggie Jones.
Present.
Rosanna Mulcahy.
Present. Good morning.
Jeff Kaplan is not with us. He may join late. Tara Brown.
She should be, no, never mind. Because Jesse's here for her, right? Yeah, Tara's not here and Karen's not here, but Jesse Maxwell is here.
And Jesse, we're glad to have you. Good deal. And then I do see that we have an additional guest today. Frank McGowan, you're here representing the city of Asheville.
Present. Yes. Good morning.
Thank you. All right. So based on the roll call, I'm Tim Love. I'm present, obviously. Based on the roll call, we do have a quorum, so we can proceed through the meeting. And if there's items to vote on, which I know there are, we can address those. The first matter that I would like to bring up related to the agenda, there was an additional item requested to be added to the agenda, which is to add Frank McGowan as a permanent member of the operating committee and replacing Tony McDowell as that member. That wasn't on the agenda that we sent and that we posted, but we do have the opportunity to add that to the agenda now. In order to do that, we would need a motion, a second, and ultimately a vote in favor of adding that item to the agenda. Once we do that, we would actually take up the item in new business, and then we would go from there. So with that said, do we have a motion to add a vote on Frank McGowan to replace Tony McDowell on our agenda?
I so move.
Thank you, Carl. Second? Anybody?
I second the motion. That's me. Well, whoever.
Thank you, Dee.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. So we will add that item to our new business items. And that'll be the first item that we take up unless someone sees it differently. And Angelica, I believe you said you would update the agenda accordingly to reflect that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
One item I neglected to address, Rachel or Angelica, I believe one of you had been serving as our interim secretary and to record the official minutes. Can we confirm that?
I am essentially serving as secretary, and I really don't remember the history around why it was interim. It was Lynn who had been in the role of secretary, and then we were wondering if whoever replaced her would take that seat, but I've been holding it. Happy to do it as the interim role and wait for us to do executive board in the future and consider getting voted on at that time. Or if you want to add it to the agenda so that we're not without a secretary, open to that as well. Nonetheless, I'm taking the minutes.
Got it. Well, this might be an opportunity to bring many items to closure. Is there anyone that has an interest in serving as the secretary, aside from Rachel? Hearing none, then I would like to propose that we add an additional item to the agenda this morning. That would be a vote to confirm Rachel Nygaard as Secretary of the Mountain Community Capital Fund Operating Committee. In order to do that, we would need a motion, a second, and then we would take that item up in new business. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
I second that motion.
Carl and Dee, y'all are a good team. At this point, we'll take the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Wait a minute. Did you just add it to new business or did
I
it just
did.
happen? Okay. Got it.
Got it. All right, so we've added 2 new items to the agenda in new business. Thank y'all for being flexible with that. All right, so moving back to our regular agenda, our first item on that agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 3rd meeting. Those were sent out prior to the meeting by Jeff Kaplan. Hopefully you've all had an opportunity to review. Are there any questions or concerns with the minutes?
This is Rachel. Please check the attendance piece in particular. Check my work on that and make sure I got you correct.
Are there any questions or concerns about the minutes?
No.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd?
I so move.
Carl is on fire. Seconds. Anyone?
I'll second that. I'm on fire too.
All right, D. Way to go, D.
Thank you.
All those in favor of approval of the minutes from September 3rd, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The minutes are approved. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, our next item, we're going to move into old business. There's no vote required in old business, but just wanted to share an update and would invite anyone on this call or that's listening to participate as well. But in our last discussion, there was some conversation just about small business resources and making sure that our various entities, programs, initiatives were aligned so that we're supporting small businesses the best we can. And so I think there's a lot of really good work going, certainly not a criticism of any work that's going on, but just wanted to make sure that we were all talking. And so along those lines, I haven't done much except to schedule a meeting with some key players, some of which, I think we've got Rachel Taylor is joining from the city of Asheville, but we would welcome additional voices, Rosanna or others, to that table. We've got folks from the chamber, including Jeff Kaplan, Samantha Cole, representing Venture Asheville and other entities, Mountain BizWorks, as well as Self-Help Credit Union also involved. Purpose of the discussion really is just to talk openly about some of the big things that are going on and to identify any potential, truthfully, gaps in the services that we're offering overall, but also to help small businesses navigate. Now, I've heard you speak a couple times now about, your experience as a small business owner and entrepreneur, and just understanding how to best use your time, which initiatives were the ones that you were investing in that were investing in you. And so I think that really resonates with me. So that's the type of thing we want to talk about. So we'd welcome your voice as well. So that's what's coming. we'll see where it goes. I don't have I have an agenda for how we'll get through that meeting, but I don't know where we'll land. So I don't want anyone to think that something big is changing. We just want to make sure folks are talking is all. So with that said, DSC, your hand is raised.
I'm mute. Thank you for recognizing me, Tim.
Yeah.
And I'll take my hand down if I can. I'm kind of having a little issue here with this system. At any rate, please do not forget, we have a new organization. It's called Eagles Wings Community Development Corporation. There's two things that this corporation, the CDC, does. It involves about 100 Black churches from Murphy to Hickory. Two things. First thing's affordable, mixed use, mixed income housing and commercial development. The second thing is ethnic minority business development, particularly African American business development throughout Western North Carolina. It's probably the largest economic development initiative ever undertaken specifically by the Black church and a couple other Black led CBOs. So I don't know if you have anybody from that group on the list to talk to, but certainly they represent quite a swath of people.
Love that. That's a great suggestion. Dee, I will follow up with you after to see who's the best rep. And again, I just want everyone to understand what I'm describing here isn't a full-fledged initiative. It's more just a conversation because
Yeah.
I think we've all learned that left to our own devices, we can go to our silos and forget to engage with one another on very simple things. So
Yeah.
That's the goal. Cool. Thank you very much. Rosanna, I see your hand is raised.
I was just wondering, when is this meeting going to happen and how would I join if I were interested?
You could just send me an email and I'll add you to the invite. Rachel is also invited, Rachel Taylor, but really wanting this to be open, like it's not a select crew. There's no board appointments or anything of that nature. It's just, let's just talk. But let me pull up that date. This is next Friday, so October 8th, 2 p.m. And so open invite. So Rosanna, do you want to let me know if you or someone else would like to rep? Cool.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Reggie or Reginald, as you're listed in Google Teams.
Hey, please call me Reggie. I couldn't figure out how to change that.
Yeah.
But just wanted to, I'm Carolina Small Business Development Fund. Our challenge has always been around the fact that we currently don't have representation, outside of the Women's Business Center. We don't have, a representation there as far as one of our business solutions officers, which, would be the person that would be on the ground on day to day. So it's a little bit of a challenge to be impactful in the program as of now. But we do intend to, build our capabilities in the western part of the state. And we just want to, just remain a part of the conversation, just to understand what's going on, understand as well where the gaps are. So as we're planning and building our capabilities there, it will align with what you're trying to accomplish.
That's great, Reggie, and we appreciate that. And I think maybe to keep you kind of plugged in, maybe we'll just add you to the list. Mm-hmm. And then if you're able to make it, great. Or if there's someone over time, Dee's laughing at me as I continue to rope people in to this meeting. So, but I think that would be a great, and I'm glad to include you, and you can plug in as you'd like to. I think as we think about what this meeting could become, maybe in the short term, it's a recurring meeting, just knowledge exchange. Maybe out of that, there's some ideas that, grow their wings and sort of move on and become, more than ideas. So we'll see. What I would say, and Rachel Nygaard can probably attest to this, in our American Rescue Plan, RFP, we just saw so many great ideas, especially on the small business, not especially, but in the small business, in the equity space. And so it'd really be great to see some of that stuff come together and, really support our community. So Anything you would add, Rachel?
I have nothing to add.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, so we're going to move to new business. What I'd like to do is lead with the Frank McGowan item that we added, and then we'll go to the secretary item, and then Yasleen, then we'll come to you and your items. So we just added an item today, and that new item is to replace Tony McDowell with Frank McGowan. And so we've greatly enjoyed working with Tony, but know that Frank also a really great resource at the City of Asheville. So I'm certainly in support of that. In order to make this official, though, we would need sort of a motion, second, and then we'll vote accordingly. Is there a motion to replace Tony McDowell with Frank McGowan?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we replace Tony McDowell with, Tony McDowell with Frank McGowan for the City of Asheville.
I second.
All in favor of the motion to replace Tony McDowell with Frank McGowan, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, the motion passes. Frank, welcome. You're an official operating committee member. You have voting responsibilities. Look forward to working with you. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for voting me in, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Good deal. All right, so Frank, you're going to get an opportunity to make your first vote, maybe even a motion or second if you choose. Our next item is to appoint Rachel Nygaard as our secretary for the Mountain Community Capital Fund Operating Committee. In order to do that, we would of course need a motion, a second, and a vote. I would say that Rachel has been a longtime member of the operating committee, long before I was a part of this as well, and has graciously been serving as our interim secretary, but has been handling business as usual. Is there a motion to appoint Rachel as the secretary?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Rachel as the official secretary, of Mountain Community Capital Operating Committee.
Thank you, Dee. Is there a second?
I second.
Very good, Frank. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Excellent. Rachel Nygaard, welcome. Thank you so much for your service, continued support of this committee.
Thank you.
Great. Do y'all miss Jeff? I kind of miss Jeff. He brought so much energy to the committee. Hopefully he'll join us. All right, so in new business, next up we have two presentations, two items from Yasleen Gonzalez. The first item, Yasleen, is a presentation on loans. And so I believe you sent those out last night. So there is a loan information sheet. And so if you'd like to present your screen or walk us through that, I'd welcome it.
Yep, I will do that. Let's see. I think the first item was the loan presentation, so I'll go ahead and start with that. Second here. Okay. Alrighty. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Great. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. So this first item of business is a loan presentation. We are seeking an 85% guarantee on a food related business. This is an existing business. It is a LMI, women-owned, Hispanic or Latino borrower. The business started in 2015. Revenue, net profit in 2019 was $81,000. Net profit in 2020 was $75,000. And they are located in Buncombe County. The loan request is for $75,000. It will be used essentially for working capital. We will not be purchasing equipment. There is equipment already in the business that will secure the loan. And let's see, payments will be 6 months interest only, then 96 months P&I. The payment will be $965.95. This will be a part of the Catalyst program as well. So we will be also pairing it with that program. The credit scores, all the borrowers, there's 3 borrowers, 2 women, 1 male. They all have great credit scores, excellent payment history, no collections, no bankruptcies or foreclosures. So there are no concerns with the credit. Jobs, there's 8 full-time jobs retained, 4 part-time retained, 3, and then 3 part-time that will be created with the new money. These applicants, I'll give you a little bit of background. They've been long-time clients of Mountain BizWorks. We've kind of helped them get started in the beginning in 2015. We originally did a loan for them. They paid us off early. They've been doing great so far. And they just came to a point where they needed some capital to keep going and to just revamp a little bit. So we are seeking 85% guarantee on this note, which is a total of $63,750. So they have, of course, received 5 hours of technical assistance and or more. And the lender has, I'm the lender. I've been working very closely with them. I've been following up with them very, very closely and will continue to do so after the loan is closed as well. Yes, do you have a question?
You're muted, Dee.
What kind of business is this? I'm not reading the chart too well. What is this?
This is a food. It's in the food industry.
Okay. And is this a refinance?
No.
Okay. And what was their net profit? Sorry, what was that?
The net profit in 2020 was $75,000.
Okay. And this is a food business. Where is it located?
It's in Buncombe County.
Buncombe County, not city of Asheville. Is that right?
Well, this says residency, which means they're resident as in their home, but their business is located in the city of Asheville.
Oh, well, all right. All right. One other question. Did you already send this out to us, this sheet, information sheet?
Yes.
I missed it. When did it come out?
Last night.
Oh, God. Okay, so I missed it. I was on the road. I'm sorry. Thank you for answering my questions.
Sure thing. I see Maui has raised her hand.
Hi, thank you. So I do have a few questions. Let me see them here. Okay, so for the collateral, it says UCC on all business assets. What does that mean again?
So a UCC is a universal commercial code with the state of North Carolina. So essentially, it's a blanket lien that we secure, that we report with North Carolina, pretty much saying we have a lien on their business assets. Until they pay off the note, we will release that. And that includes fixtures, equipment, accounts receivable, among other items.
Do you know in general how much equipment they might have? Because I noticed that in the net profit section, like there's a section 179. So does that mean that they bought equipment previously or recently and took that full depreciation? So I was just wondering how much.
They have about $85,000 in equipment, but it was purchased at the beginning of the business, so it has been fully depreciated.
Okay, so about 5 years ago it was purchased. Okay. And then my last question, which is kind of a more general question, is this is kind of a first like loan request that I'm helping review. So it looks like the borrowers all have pretty good credit scores. They have some collateral there. And so I was wondering if Mountain BizWorks, if you guys see some other sort of risk factors that prompted you to come to us to guarantee this loan at this moment in time.
So the reason why we came to Mountain or MCCF is because typically to repossess kitchen equipment is really cumbersome, and usually it's not the best way to secure a loan. In this case, that's really the only collateral that there is.
Okay, yeah, that's why I was wanting to know. And this is a larger loan request, and
Right.
looking at the fund balance that we had from the other spreadsheet, this is pretty much half of our remaining fund balance. So
Right.
that's all things to consider. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. And I see Carl has a hand up.
Yes, thank you. Is it appropriate to know whether this is a retail or wholesale business?
This is a retail.
And the income for 2020 was COVID related?
Yes and no. It was a little bit of both. Their sales did spike a little bit because of COVID. So they were able to actually implement some drive-through and or takeout options to kind of mitigate their sales dropping. So, yeah.
Okay. And to Maui's point, will this be the largest amount we have guaranteed to date?
It is not. Actually, yes, it is. We have not. This is not the largest we've approved, or you guys have approved, but it will be the largest one that we've done.
Okay. Thank you.
Those are all excellent questions, Dee and Maui and Carl. I appreciate that. I want to take a minute and acknowledge that Jeff Kaplan has joined us. Jeff, thank you.
Everybody, how are you?
Doing well. Hope you are. You're welcome to take the baton back if you like, but you may also be balancing other
Vice Chair
items.
Love, I do appreciate that. I'm in my car right now, and it's kind of noisy, so I'll be in the office in 5 minutes or so. And
That sounds good.
my computer.
Well-
Step in as chair.
Well, that sounds good. Well, Jeff, if you have any questions on this one, please let us know.
Yeah, I'll just share. It does seem, thanks for the line of questioning. You all brought up issues I hadn't really considered. I do have a bit of hesitation putting such a large investment into a retail food and beverage operation, given the state of public health and the shifting policies that immediately affect the bottom line of these types of investments. So I don't know if you can share this, guys. I mean, have these applicants also received any one-bunkum funds or other government stimulus in the past year and a half that would de-risk this investment?
I think your question was, have they taken advantage of any other government loans?
Yeah, like one bunkum.
So the reason why they came to Mountain BizWorks is because two of the borrowers do not have legal status. So that has been a real deterrent in them trying to get funding anywhere else. So because of that, they were not eligible for bank funding, although they have, their numbers look great. They have more than 2 years of operating history, but because two of the borrowers don't have any kind of legal status, they do not qualify for any kind of traditional funding and or government funding as well.
Gotcha. And I saw revenue numbers. Are they profitable or are they showing a loss?
They are profitable, yes.
So that is encouraging. You know, the kind of rule of thumb or the idea around restaurants, right, is that it takes generally 3 years to break even. So to see that they have 2 strong years of revenue and they're profitable, I find that very encouraging.
Yes.
That's great.
Thank you.
Rachel, I see your hand is raised. You're muted.
You're muted.
I was glad to hear the questions around the total fund balance. I was kind of looking ahead because we have the agenda items in opposite order. I know that we are getting close to sort of using up, having our fund balance spoken for with our portfolio of loans. Can you clarify, Yasleen, your answer to Maui's question about the largest loan? You said it's not the largest loan that we've done, but it's the largest loan we've guaranteed or something like that. I want to make sure that I understand.
Yeah, so previously we did approve a $70,000 guarantee. However, the loan did not go through. So we did approve it. The guarantee was approved. However, it was not completed.
That was the loan for like $200,000, right?
Correct.
And then it was taken out because he didn't follow through. Okay.
Right, and it was right when COVID kind of started, and so they decided not to go through with the business, and so it just kind of fell apart. So that's what happened with that one. And then the guarantee money, of course, was put back into the lending pool. Any other questions?
Sorry, y'all. I have a siren in the background, and I'm trying to save y'all from that. Those are excellent questions, and I think provided a lot of clarity. I really appreciate everyone being honest and recognizing that, you know, there's a finite amount of funding and wanting to make sure that these resources are best used. I appreciated you sharing the status of this business, Yasleen, because I do think that's a variable. I mean, this program is designed to support people that aren't getting support in other ways, and so I think that adds to the story. So thanks for sharing that.
Definitely, yep.
Maui.
Had another small follow-up question. So I think you mentioned that it would create 3 jobs, 3 positions with potentially with this working capital. The only challenge is that it's kind of a staffing shortage right now, like kind of, you know, industry-wide, you know, in this kind of beverage sort of retail industry. So I'm wondering if they already had those staff persons lined up, or they would have to go and source them, and if they have trouble, how that would kind of impact the use of funds that they were intending.
So they do already have those people lined up. They again, a lot of the challenges that a lot of Latino or Hispanics have that, you know, don't speak the language, they are able to provide jobs that, you know, a lot of the people that they do hire on are Hispanic Latinos that, you know, have struggled with the language. So they do have people lined up to bring on. Yep. Yes, Carl.
You had indicated that, you know, the challenge of, you know, trying to monetize used restaurant equipment for their asset value. Has anybody examined the assets that are used as collateral for this loan?
Yes, yeah, we have done multiple site visits to the restaurant and also collected an asset sheet from them.
Thank you.
Yes, Dee.
Thank you for recognizing, Yasleen. I guess going along with that question, I guess I'm just used to working cap being no more than 7 years. I understand with some of the entrepreneurs that we have cash flow and gross revenue issues and volume issues. But one of the things about fully depreciated equipment is absolutely no good on a balance sheet. And so is there some way that in the future we can look at lowering, reducing the amount of time to 84 months or 7 years rather than these long and very protracted? Because we are, what we're basing this on is fully depreciated equipment that probably has scrap value. And it just, I guess, I don't know, I guess from the standpoint of somebody who's pledged collateral and had to collect collateral and liquidate collateral, I've even had to do that. If there's no value there, the only thing that is valuable would be the scrap value of it. Is there a way, and I guess the chairman or whoever are the thinkers on this loan pool, is there a way that we can fix those time limits so that we don't have protracted limits of on these loans so that the equipment runs out or before the loan does? I guess from a lending standpoint, that's another thing I guess that we could provide based, and we do provide it as a gap measure, but I don't think, first of all, the restaurant business is a very risky business from a risk assessment standpoint. The second thing is I don't care much for pledging or using as collateral fully depreciated equipment. So the only next best thing, and I'm speaking very frankly now, and from a business standpoint, is to lower the terms down to 84 months. I know that we can't do that now, but in the future, I certainly wouldn't want to see a working cap loan go over 84 months. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
So I do have to say, to your point, because kitchen equipment and restaurant equipment does not hold up its value, and it's really hard to come up with a value on it. This is why we exist. This is why MCCF exists, to really fill that gap in collateral, right?
Okay.
So,
and to your point, of course, but on a Section 179 tax form, if you've already written that equipment off to the federal government and it's been utilized as a 179 deduction, then it does not have any value, intrinsic or otherwise. So that's just from a business standpoint. And that's the only thing that I'm speaking of right now, is that, and to go along with that, to extend a loan beyond 84 months, which 7 years, whether you do makers, acres, or whatever lifespan that you do have, which is, I haven't seen their 179 form, so I have no idea whether it was 5 years, 7 years, or whatever, makers, acres, or whatever. I'm just saying that from a business standpoint, we don't lend or put UCCs on kitchen equipment that's been fully depreciated on a tax form, because if it's fully depreciated on an IRS Section 179 and taking the deductions, they've taken that against income, as you know. So my only thing is that we be consistent, and that, I mean, and I understand why we're here, is to bridge that gap, but I certainly don't want to be putting UCC liens on fully depreciated equipment that has no scrap value from a business standpoint. And number two, very long rates to repay, when most banks only give 84 months or even less for working cap without assets to cover that. That's all I've got to say. And I just wondered if there's a time where we could have a work session to take a look at those terms.
Thank you. Thank you,
That's just
Dee.
my banker's head.
Real
That's all.
quick. Real quick.
We are here to assist the businesses that wouldn't qualify for a bank loan. We are here working with Mountain BizWorks and non-traditional lending agencies, because these agencies are able to provide longer term and other financing opportunities that they could not get at a bank. And to be sitting here discussing collateral and UCC liens and the length of the loan, I understand it, but to take it to the level where it's being taken, it seems to me like it's a waste of everyone's time, because this is what we're here to do. This is why Mountain BizWorks exists. This is why Carolina Small Business Development exists. This is why other agencies, other CDFIs exist. If it wasn't for those CDFIs, these businesses would not have loans. These businesses would not have their business made even. So giving them a 96-month where they can have a payment that they can afford, it does not seem unreasonable to me at all. It would be more unreasonable to give them a shorter-term loan that puts a bigger strain on the loan on the borrower, and then they're not able to pay the loan. That to me is a bigger strain, and that's what we're
All right.
here for, to pay.
Here, let's
support
bring this back,
business.
Rosanna and Dee. Let's bring this item back. I see Jeff has his hand raised. What I'd like to do, what I'm hearing is likely general support for this program, and we can vote on that to see, because that is something we'll have to do today. If there's a need for additional discussion about how we view assets and different types of businesses, I think that's perfectly fine for a future discussion, and something I don't think it hurts us to talk about. So with that said, Jeff, you had your hand raised. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Yeah, I want to kind of bring this part of the conversation maybe to a further agenda item or second meeting, not part of the regular monthly meeting where we with the regular agenda, maybe a special meeting. But I hear both sides of it, and I think they're both valid when you consider. I'll just briefly say that we need to look at loans with a healthy skepticism and realism that Dee's bringing to the table. Like, we absolutely have to. We don't want to be just a feel good rubber stamp committee. We should add some rigor to the approval of loans that are coming from taxpayer guarantees. On the other hand, this is the last chance for entrepreneurs, and that's why our fund exists. And we do exist to provide collateral and support for those who otherwise couldn't get it. So there needs to be both sides equally represented. But I think at the end of the day, when if there's a scale here, this is the last chance for so many founders, whether it's collateral, criminal history, immigration status, credit score. That's why we exist. It doesn't mean we should look at just rubber stamp things. It means we should add the rigor and thoughtfulness to it. But understand why we exist. So anyway, with that, it sounds like
hey Jeff, I want to say just something really, really quick.
Please.
I do want to say that when it comes to terms, when it comes to what kind of lien we put on the business, that falls under the lender's underwriting guidelines. So I don't really think that that's something that should be discussed or decided in the committee, because those terms were set for a reason, and those terms were set to watch their cash flow. So that's what the business could afford. That's what the business could repay. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there real quick.
No, you're absolutely right, Yasleen. You're bringing up an important point that we have professionals, right, and organizations and CDFIs that's their whole job, and right, it's not our job to describe terms. It's just approving the loan or not, and then trigger points and understand moratorium. So anyway, this is a really important discussion. I'm glad that it's being brought up and these points are being addressed. And I'll make a note to add a special meeting.
That's great.
Regarding, and this might get to perhaps how we do the process of proposing the loan. Maybe this form that we use, again, needs to be revamped and changed. As again, we're not a fully baked committee. We're still figuring this out as we go sometimes. And we should keep in mind that flexibility is our advantage. Matt, you have a hand up?
Yes. One quick question. As part of that special meeting, that 85% guarantee percentage, is that like set in stone? Is that something we can kind of negotiate? I think maybe part of what's giving a few folks pause here, and me included, is just kind of the size of the loan and 85% of that being $63,000, which is half of our loan balance left, and then that maturing pretty much in the next 8 or 9 years. So it's going to take a while to recoup that. But could we negotiate on that 85% and bring that down some so that it's not a whole $63,000 that we are guaranteeing?
Maui just stepped into my favorite question. I love it. And what I will say, Maui, because we've certainly chased this a bit, And I think this is something we need to continue to discuss. And especially in the context, not of necessarily where we are today, but where we're planning to go. And, there have been proposals to expand funding to the MCCF. And I think a key to that discussion is going to be exactly what you brought up. What's the right percentages? What's the right level of risk? And, are there different tools potentially that we should be introducing that, account for more or less risk? And so I think that's exactly the right question, something I'd love to talk about. And it's certainly on the agenda. So that's a non-answer, but it's something we need to, especially if we're talking about expanding funding.
So if I may jump in, well, I have a note actually on here to bring up MCCF and ARPA and how that plays into it in the I guess the last part of the agenda for the round the table updates, if that's okay. I want to be aware of our time and come back to that topic and bring this issue to a vote if there is a motion either way on this loan before we get into the quarterly report, and we'll save that. We'll come back to the roundtable updates, Tim, at the end there.
Yeah. Well, I'll motion to approve this loan guarantee. I think hearing the questions, I think there's a strong revenue and profit generation over multiple years in face of certain adversity in this industry. I think the demographics as well as the demographics, indicate, this seems to be the type of business that we should be supporting, but also a profitable one. So I motion to approve this loan guarantee.
Rachel, you had a hand up. Was that before, right as Tim was beginning? Was that to say something similar, or do you want to go a different direction?
It was. So I'll
Okay,
second.
thank you. So Tim motions to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Frank. We haven't met. Are you with one of our lenders?
I'm replacing Tony McDowell. I was just
Oh,
voted
very
in
good.
this morning. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Great to have you, Frank.
Yep.
Nice to
And
meet you.
Jeff, we voted on that while you were gone. So
Great. Okay, Frank, welcome as a city representative. So by show of raising hands, all voting members, if you would like to approve, please raise your hand. 3, 4. And any opposed? Very good. Motion passes. Congratulations, Yasleen. I hope this.
Thank you, everyone. And this is also the first, I would like to say this is the first Latino loan that we've done under MCCF. So awesome.
Very good. The other side of the coin of this, like, I love the work we do, but I wish I knew what business this was so I could support them, right? I'd love to find out, like, who is this? Can I go to their restaurant and nosh on some delicious food?
for 2 years of $80,000 profit, it's got to be delicious. I mean,
yeah, right? Got to be good. Fantastic. All right, Yasleen, you're up for our next item as well, which is a quarterly presentation.
Let's see here.
And this was emailed last night, close to 9 p.m., I believe. So it is in your
Yeah,
as a reply.
I apologize. My apologies for the late email.
I had a chance to glance at it during bath time with my son, so I look forward to the presentation today.
The day got just away from me. Actually, the week has. So, all right. Can everyone see that okay? All right, great. So far, this only includes the loans that have already been approved. As you can see, there is one that has not yet been closed that has TBD, which is the loan number to be decided. It's not yet been closed. I know there's a few board members that may have not been when that loan was approved, but I'll kind of get to that one when we get to that point. So there's one loan that has been paid off, loan number 2, that has been refinanced by loan number 6. So was refinanced and into loan number 6 as refi and new money. All right. So far, we have an active loan balance of $376,000. We have an active guarantee balance of $320,000. The original loan amount is $549,000. I know that we could only do loans up to a total amount of, and I had a question about this. I believe, Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the total loan balance that we could do was $530,000. Not sure what if that we still have to abide by that, or is that if that's correct? Not sure if Jesse's still here. I can double check with her. So far, with all of these loans and the active guarantee amount as of 9/30, which was yesterday, the fund balance is $133,000. This is not including the loan that was just approved today. Okay. So most of these loans have been done to existing businesses. Only 3 of these have been done to new businesses. And the new means businesses that have been operating under 2 years. Yes, Carl.
Could I ask about the interest rates? What's the trigger that jumps them from 4 to 8, and how is it that they go from 4 to 9? How is that set?
Yeah. So if you can see the first few years, these are our typical Mountain BizWorks rates. However, in 2021, Mountain BizWorks, along with other partners, created a program called the Catalyst Program. And with that program, we are able to offer our people of color or entrepreneurs of color a much more lower rate. So I can go on and on about this program, but essentially it is a loan, and I can actually send you the link so you could read a little bit more about the program. But what it is, it's a loan, a 10-year loan, or we can shorten it. It can be like 7, 8, whatever, how many years, 5 years, we can kind of shorten the term. But for the first 5 years, the loan is 4%. After that, anything over 5 years jumps up to 8%. And we can also do like 12 months of interest only or 6 months of interest only at the beginning of that loan. So that's why you see the jump on interest rate there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And of course, with that, you can see the terms here. Most of these are 10 years. 10 years is a max term that we can do. So some of these $50,000 loans we have maxed them out at 120 months to help them with the payments and cash flow purposes. Okay. So far, all of these loans are current. We have had no missed payments from any of these loans. We do have 85% guarantee on all of these loans. Let's see. Yep. So most of these have been African American or Black. Loans have been done to African American or Black entrepreneurs. And when I was so loan 12, that has not yet been closed. That loan, if some members remember, that was part of a much larger request, and that was a loan that we were working with multiple other lenders. It was over $1 million deal, and we were coming in as a small part of it. Well, because there are multiple lenders, there's just a lot of moving pieces. So the closing date just took a little bit longer to be set, and the closing date will be is already set, and it will be closed on October 19th. So that will be closed this month. and that's why it's not it's still pending. However, the guarantee dollars have already been added to the fund balance. Any other questions about anything?
No, good analysis. Thank you.
Yes, Maui.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So I just was wondering if at some point, if we could add some of the risk factors to this, I would be interested to see, as kind of the two main criteria of these loans is that someone or a founder who doesn't have good credit score or they don't have collateral. It would be kind of good to see that from a portfolio view, like how we're kind of meeting those objectives, but also to see, like, from our point of view, we don't have transparency into that data, how essentially risky is this pool of, borrowers.
Okay. What we could, and this was a suggestion that, this is something that Momentum BizWorks does. Because if we do that, there's just going to be a lot more columns added and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So what we could do is kind of come up with some kind of risk kind of assessment or risk platform, I guess, to see like 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, how to see how risky they are. And that way you guys could understand a little bit more. That's kind of how Mountain BizWorks grades every kind of loan. So that's something we could possibly talk about. Yes, correct, Frank.
Or even just like a distribution chart, right? Or like bar chart or something, just so we can kind of see on average, like where we are kind of on that spectrum of credit scores.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. I mean, I could add the credit scores on there. That's fine. I could do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, this gets to a topic of, do we think about presenting loans in a different way? In the risk matrix that Yaslin is talking about, I know lenders use it, and we also do it in angel investing. We have a set rubric that we score people on, which could be helpful as well to look at these as a snapshot.
Thank you, Yaslin. I've appreciated having this portfolio, this quarterly report format. I think it helps us keep our eye on that total loan portfolio, which is especially important as we're closing in on that available loan pool, that fund balance nearing zero. I know that we've got a couple of pending funding opportunities, so that might change our position. However, I was a little concerned that I heard you say that you weren't 100% confident what our available starting balance was. It sounds like you're basing that 133 on a starting balance of 530,000, but we need clarification. What can we do to get that?
So I will actually send Jesse an email. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that the total amount of loans that we could do could not exceed 530,000. So I've got to double check with her on that.
Is there special math there, like considering the guarantee percentage off the original 450? Is that how you get to 530?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe we could only do 85% of the 530, which is 450, something like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
special
Dean.
math, Rachel, is I'm going to trademark that.
Dee, you had a question? You're muted.
Yeah. I'm a little over my time anyway. Just wanted to make a note that was one of the things that we had in the sheet when we attempted to put together a rubric, if you will, so that we could assess each loan. The credit score was an item on that sheet, the one that went out last night. It should have been posted on that sheet. I believe there was a space for that.
It's on there.
That was excuse me?
It was on there.
Okay, so that's what I'm referring to. I didn't see it because I was out driving last night. Probably didn't see it this morning because I was still driving this morning. But anyway, that's all. And I think, you know, and to points that have been made, I don't bring these things up to be controversial or to start an argument. We were appointed by city council and county commissioners to have healthy skepticism and to protect this public money. So when we bring anything up, it's not like in my case, a lot of times it's not to be contingent or contest anything. It's just merely to make the process better and to make it more accountable. And I'm not saying that people who aren't professional are doing this. I don't think we're put here to rubber stamp anything either. So I would just say that, and just say that it's all in the spirit of open transparency. I'm not trying to be difficult. I know you have a thing about angry Black women, but I'm not one of them. I'm a very thankful person, and I'm thankful for the loan pool, this Mountain Community Capital Fund. So that's all that I would say. It's all in the spirit of why we were put here. So thank you, and I thank everybody for what they do, and thank you too, Yasleen. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your input, Dee.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dee.
I did want to note that we, you know, with the loan that was approved today, we do have 2 others that are will be closing later this month, or that do not need to come to the council for approval. They're under 35,000. So with that, we have about $34,000 left in the guarantee pool.
It's a great segue to our next topic. Before we talk about that, Yasleen, would it be possible, is there a requirement of why this is sent out as a PDF? And this is from my own personal curiosity. If I could have this as a spreadsheet or a CSV or Excel file, I'd be curious about running some of the payback percentages. If that's possible.
I can send it to you, and I can send it to Tim. I wouldn't feel comfortable sending it to everyone just because I don't want to have a lot of edits in there.
No, I understand. Yeah, sure. I mean,
so
I can make a copy of it and not send it to you.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
have a few questions I'm curious about.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely do that. I can send you the. Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send that your way. One thing I did want to mention was that you see on the checks, we have not mailed all the checks to Self-Help. And that's been because there's just been a miscommunication of who to send it to and where over the time, the years, and then yeah. So those will be sent, and that the fund balance does include the fee amounts on the checks as well. So those will be sent to Self-Help. I just need to confirm with Jesse or Tara on who or where to send them.
Great. And let me take this opportunity to put some pressure on other lenders. $34,000 left. This could be a clean sweep for Mountain BizWorks. So I'd love to see some other lenders get some action in there too.
Don't say that, Jeff, because we might have a couple others that we need to use that money for.
If there's any other updates or conversation, do we need to approve or accept these as presented through a motion formally for the quarterly report, or is this just a presentation?
I believe it's just a presentation. Okay. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
This is Rachel. I would like to chime in just briefly. I mentioned before the meeting to Angelica the website updates that we approved last meeting look great on the MCCF website. Just want to say this out loud, not for any action right now, but to put it on people's minds. I would love for us to be able to do some reporting, not in this form, but maybe in a little bit more like user-friendly form on the website showing the impact of the fund so far. The borrowers, the leveraging, those kinds of pieces.
Yeah, I could see us creating some kind of annual report to keep it vague enough, but big enough to show the impact, and then update that regularly. Tim, you have a hand?
Yeah, I wanted to tag on and just mention, I know we're over, but Buncombe County, we have, a strategic plan. Many of our departments have business plans. We also have a racial equity action plan. And in many of these plans, we have specific performance measures that we're tracking against. And so one in particular that relates to this work would be, business growth, business ownership, jobs associated with small businesses owned by, people of color, women-owned businesses, et cetera. And so would love to be able to, as Rachel said, communicate that impact, but also tie it into the work and these plans that we've developed here at the county, and I'm sure others have as well. So I think that's a really great item and something that was on my list to ping you about, Jeff. So,
Tim, Rachel, this is a great suggestion, and given the fiduciary status of the city and the county, I think I'm hearing a nomination for a subcommittee chair from one of you to lead the annual report building. I think that's what I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll come back to that in our special meeting regarding understanding terms from our lenders. Any other comments? And I know we're over time. I apologize for that. In the roundtable updates, I'll kick it off and say things are looking good with Dogwood. I'm finalizing some items with self-help, and so we'll finally, hopefully, push that over the finish line. We have $1.5 million request out with the county for ARPA, and on Tuesday, is it Tuesday? I believe the 5th is the next pitch for the commissioners. And Tim, Rachel, let me know if I'm wrong. And 2 weeks after that will be award announcements.
Hey, Jeff, this is Rachel relating to Buncombe County's local fiscal recovery funds, which is part of ARPA. There is not a set award timeframe. Our Board of Commissioners has committed to making rolling awards.
Okay.
I see, I'm looking at Frank because I know the city has opened their request for proposals, and Frank can speak to whether or not this project might align with the city's priorities and timeline for getting that in. My assumption would be the lenders would need to kind of get together as they did when applying to Buncombe County and identify a lead applicant, et cetera.
I'll be brief. Yes, Rachel, the city's ARPA request for proposal was posted on Monday. It is open until November 1st. There's an information session for proposers on October 13th. All this information is up on the City of Asheville purchasing bidding page. And I would invite anyone to take a look at the categories. I usually have this document open almost all the time, and I don't have it open at the moment. But I believe there is there may be a possibility for an application there. So I would invite you to spread that word, let folks know that it's out there now. I actually just got notice that we've had 41 viewers of our tweet about the ARPA funds, so we'd like to make that a lot bigger. Like Rachel mentioned, we are leaving the option open for rolling awards. So we haven't fully determined. Council hasn't fully determined how they plan to make those awards yet, but we have left the option open for rolling awards. So we will see how that goes.
Frank, not to hold you to it, but I'll share where I'm thinking this proposal lands. Is Dogwood proposal was for 500,000. And proposal with the county is 1.5 million. And so I expect our proposal with the city to fall somewhere between those two numbers. Is that in the right ballpark for you? What your expectations might be?
Jeff, I have no expectations. We're interested to see what we receive in terms of requests.
If I may ask one more clarifying question. Is it possible to ask for, let's call it $1 million, and be told we can't give you $1 million, we're going to give you $750,000? Is it possible? Is it an all or nothing, or could there be a negotiation between the council deciders and the applicants?
I'm unclear on that at the moment.
Okay.
I've been involved in putting the RFP together and getting it posted, but those decisions have been, or those determinations may have been discussed, but I'm not privy to them at this point.
What I would say, Jeff, is that because it's a official procurement process, there's a way to submit questions, and asking about partial awards is a really good question that would be worth submitting either at that in-person, or at that recovery funding workshop the city is hosting, or through their in writing.
That is an excellent point, Rachel. Thank you.
Buying you some time, Frank.
That was well played. As just a humble private citizen in private industry, thank you for your consultations and advice and guidance through these transparent, equitable public processes. Any other roundtable updates? Anyone else got anything they want to share? I see on the minutes that Rachel was nominated as officially secretary. Did that pass too? It did? Rachel, you should go out and buy a lotto ticket. This must be your lucky day. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I knew you would be disappointed to miss that vote.
Any other roundtable updates from the committee? Angelica, do you want to talk another chance to plug Pathways to Grow? Applications are open. Spread the word. Anything else?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for thinking of me. Yes, our applications for AVL Pathways to Grow, which I spoke about in the last meeting, it's our training program for women and small business owners of color. And we are looking for businesses who are somewhat established, like it's not necessarily a training program for just any business or startups. It's more geared towards people who, like for example, the criteria are that they should be making at least $150,000 a year in revenues, up to $5 million, have been in business for 2 years, and yeah, I don't have them right in front of me, but you know, it's a commitment of about 6 months, biweekly classes, and meeting a little bit outside of class. There's assignments. It's pretty intensive, but it works really well. We're partnering with Enterprise that has done this across the country in about 80 different cities. So they do pretty well, and we are especially looking for businesses that are looking to work on their contracting skills. That's another big strength of the program. So if you could please email Sana or refer people to our program page, I think, and feel free to email me, but I think I've shared with everyone here the program information and everything, and the web page, but I'll put it in the chat in the moment as well, the application page, if you all want to share that out. We would love to. We're getting some applicants. We have limited space available, so please refer qualified applicants our way. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We're excited for that program to kick off, and wishing you all the best and luck with the success.
Yes, thank you. And one last thing, the applications do close next Friday, October 15th. Thanks.
Very good. Any other updates? Anything else for the group? Okay, Frank, great to meet you. Good to see everybody. And we'll see you. We'll be on the lookout for emails coming out regarding invites to a special meeting ahead of the next monthly meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Is that how I do it? To say adjourned?
Oh,
it's a motion to adjourn.
Usually we do have the
comment.
moment for public comment, and this is my opportunity to say that we have no callers for public comment. So
I'm excited for the day we have one or two.
Yes.
And then with that, do I motion to adjourn or do I just adjourn?
Second.
Rachel, how does this work? I got a second. Okay. So all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Okay. Fantastic. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.